Hey there, in this video we're going to be covering different topics to do with voiceovers. If you don't know me already, hi, my name is Aura Araba and I'm a voiceover artist. I also run a voiceover coaching program. For more details on that, check the description or the pinned comment. Let's move on. All right, so I'm going to be answering a few questions to do with voiceover today, and I'm hoping this will become a series where I just give some insights into voiceovers. Let's get into it. So the first thing, what is a voiceover? That would be the most obvious question, right? Well, a voiceover in simple terms is when a message is being communicated by a voice, but you can't necessarily see the person who is doing the voiceover. And that can have many applications, which leads on to the next question. Okay, where do you hear voiceovers, or what kind of voiceovers are there? The different kinds of voiceovers, also called genres of voiceovers, are there's so many. You've got commercial, you've got animation, so all the characters, your favorite characters, for example, maybe in anime or in Disney cartoons, that sort of thing, they all require a voice. That's a voiceover. Then you've also got e-learning, you've got audiobooks, you've got IVR, you've got gaming. IVR, by the way, is the automated telephone response systems where you hear something like press 1 for sales or 2 for lettings, that sort of thing. Then moving on from that, let me think, what else is there a voiceover for? Oh, even film dubbing. So I don't know how many of you are fans of Korean drama. I often listen to Korean drama in the original language because I just find it fun. But sometimes it's actually quite cool to listen to it in English because I speak English. It's easier to comprehend, right? So you need a voiceover artist for that. That would be called dubbing. So there are many places where you can find voiceovers. Ooh, another one is at the automated checkouts. So, at the checkouts where it says, please scan your first item. That's a voiceover. You're not necessarily seeing the person doing it, but you're hearing it. Or maybe the sounds at the airport telling you to offload your baggage, or maybe telling you where your gate number is, or telling you that your gate is closing and so you better run quickly to your gate so you don't miss your flight. That sort of thing. All of those are examples of voiceovers. All right, let's move on to the question. Is voiceover one word or two words? I spell it as one word, so voiceover altogether. Some people spell it as two words. I've seen it spelt like that. I do read here that the Associated Press style book recommends voiceover as one word, not two separate words. So there you go. Let's see. Now, a nice juicy question. How much do voiceover narrators get paid? I would say the answer varies. Just like with every business, the answer varies. When you are a voiceover artist, you're operating as a business. And so you're helping other businesses or other people put forward messages about a product or a service or an event or something going on. Anyway, you're trying to pass forward a message. You could be hired by many people. And so it depends on who you're hired by. I know on the higher end per job, you get paid quite a lot more for commercials than you might be for other forms of voiceover. So whether that's e-learning or audiobooks, the pay per hour may be lower, but that's because there are other things involved. So let me tell you an interesting term in voiceover: usage. So that's when your voice is licensed for a period of time and a location or a way to use the voice. Let me explain. So that means when it comes to using your voice, you're not just using the voice that's recorded. There might be certain places where it can be used and other places where it can't. So for example, if you record an ad, it may be that the ad is only to be used in radio rather than in television broadcast and elsewhere. And if they wanted television one, they'd have to pay for that license to use your voice there. So these are things to consider. Voiceover pricing can vary depending on where and how it is used. I hope this makes sense. If you want more information and you want to go deeper into understanding things about voiceovers, check out my voiceover coaching program in the pinned comment and in the description. You can just click on there, register or apply, and then I'll be in touch with you shortly about when the next cohort is happening and for you to just come on board. All right, let's move on. Okay, so is voiceover work hard? That's another question that has come up here. Well, it depends is the right answer, is what I would say. It depends. It depends on a number of things. I think, as with any skill, when you're first starting out, yes, it can be difficult in the sense of it's just something new. But I don't think it's so difficult that it's insurmountable. No. I do believe that you can learn to be a good voiceover artist. And there are different kinds of voiceovers that may be more challenging than others. So imagine having to play different characters in an audiobook, for example. Just the mental gymnastics that goes into having to think, okay, this is a male character in his 60s. You're playing that character, and then you're switching to that character playing with their grandbaby who is maybe 3 months old and just coos and caws and stuff. Then being able to switch voices between that can be challenging, but it's a really welcome challenge and one you might actually really enjoy. So it really varies. And then you've also got something called humanizations. What are those? Those are when you make sounds that aren't necessarily words, but are human. So for example, a sigh, or imagine a fight is going on and you're hearing people punching each other. I'm not doing it quite well right now because I'm holding a microphone. But yeah, those sounds sort of thing. Or if you were doing a voiceover in Nigeria, for example, and you'd want to add sounds that people use, you'd hear, no way, is that so? These are things that we use that aren't necessarily words, but they mean something. So just different things like that. So those are things that can come into voiceover that can maybe add to the complexity, but also adds to the fun of it. So is voiceover work hard or difficult? I wouldn't say so. I think it's something you have to learn. You have to learn, just like with any other skill, you have to learn. But it's not insurmountable and you can learn it. Okay, let's move on. Do voiceovers make good money? I've sort of covered this already, but yes. When you audition and you get picked for a particular voiceover, yes, you can earn some decent money and it's quite nice. And the pay for voiceovers varies quite a lot, right? You've got clients who maybe can't afford as much, and then you've got clients who can afford way more, and voiceover artists who are at the top of their game who can charge more as well. So there's a full spectrum of how much you can charge. Personally, in terms of how much I've received for voiceover, it's varied from, let's say, about $200 to $3,000, $4,000 for a project. It just depends on the length of the project, the kind of project it is, whether there are usage terms involved in that project, that sort of thing. But yeah, so it can be a good field to get into. All right. What do you call a person who does voiceovers? Well, there are two major names, maybe three. First would be voiceover artist. That's a key term. Another term you might use for somebody who does voiceovers is voice actor. You have that. But also for things like audiobooks, they're also called narrators. So it just really depends on the part that they're playing. For example, you could have those who do film dubbing could be called, I think, dubbing artists, I believe. So it really varies. But the catch-all terms would be voiceover artist or voice actor, depending on the field. Then how many words per minute in a voiceover? Now that's an interesting question because again, the answer is it depends. It varies based on the person's read rate and the pace and cadence at which they speak. I tend to read between 130 and maybe 140 words per minute. If I'm reading at a normal pace, or my normal pace anyway, I can read faster than that or slower than that. But that's generally my rate in a sense. For a job that's, let's say, 10,000 words. Let me see how long that would take me to do. I'll quickly use the calculator for that. So if I read at a rate of, let's say, 130 words a minute, and then we have 10,000 words, that would be 10,000 divided by 130. And that would be 76.9 minutes. So let's just call that 77 minutes, thereabouts. Let me check that. Yeah, that is right. That is right. Okay. So yeah, there we go. So my read rate is between 130 and 140 words. Sometimes I go a bit higher, sometimes I go a bit lower, but that's the sort of range I have. For other people, it can be a lot higher or a lot lower. Let's see. What other questions do we have here? Can I be a voice actor from home? The answer to that is, drum roll. Yes, you can. So you can be a voiceover artist from home. You'd set up your home studio and you just buy your equipment, make sure the environment is well set up. That's very important. And yes, you can liaise with clients all over the world, basically, working from home. Now, there are some voiceover jobs where they may require you to go to the client studio or the studio of the client's choosing, particularly for jobs that require a lot of collaboration. They may want you to go to the client's studio. But in general, most of the jobs I've done, bar maybe a handful of them, have all been from home. You also have live directed sessions where you can connect directly to the studio of the client and or the sound engineer, and they can direct you as you're recording from home. So you have them in your ear, you get the directions, and then you record. And if they want you to change anything, you can do that on the fly, on the go. That way, by the end of the session, they have all the takes that they need. They've got the files, and then they can go do their edits. And then if they want pickups, they can come back for that. But it just reduces the back and forth when it comes to doing voiceovers. I hope that makes sense. All right, let's keep it moving. What's the most important piece in the voiceover equipment space? That's a very interesting question. Many people might think it's the microphone, but I dare disagree with that. I think the most important part of your recording setup is your recording environment. Even if you have the most expensive and the best microphone ever, if your recording environment has a lot of bare walls and sound bouncing from wall to wall and it's just very echoey, it would defeat the purpose of the recording. Your recording environment would be where I would spend a lot of time and effort and money to make sure you have that down. So reducing external noises, reducing the amount of echoes going on in that room, making sure that you're not hearing people shouting in the background or maybe dogs barking outside or anything like that. But also make sure there isn't too much bass and it's just clean, basically. And again, no echoes, no reverb. That can just be an audio recording killer. So you have to watch out for that. But yeah, I'd argue that it's the environment more than the microphone. You do better with a great environment and an average microphone than maybe the best microphone ever, but a bad environment. I hope that makes sense. All right, that concludes today's questions about voiceovers. If you have other questions about voiceovers, let me know in the comments and I'd love to answer them. And don't forget, we do have our Voiceover 101 coaching program. Link is in the description and in the pinned comment. If you're keen on learning about voiceovers or dipping your toes in the water just to find out a little bit more, click on the link, fill in the application form, and we'll be in touch. All right, I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.